Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and members of the Board of Trustees, it's my distinct honor and privilege to stand before you today to present the University Medal, our university's highest recognition, to the Honorable Rodney Proctor Frelinghuysen. Rodney hates praise, so we're going to get to torture him a little bit. So Rodney's extraordinary service and support for AUB spans decades, and it's marked by unwavering commitment, visionary leadership, great patience, and a profound understanding of our mission. As a longtime champion of the university, he has led our cause through the halls of Congress, promoting American interests in the Middle East and generating substantial resources for AUB. Thousands of students have been able to receive an education at AUB because of Congressman Frelinghuysen's efforts. Our funding, as an institution from the U.S. government, has more than tripled in the time that he has supported us, and occasionally quintupled. During his tenure as a congressman as chair of the House Appropriations Committee, Rodney worked tirelessly to maintain and increase funding for our U.S. government programs. And he helped launch the Refugee Scholarship Support Program, opening doors for students in the most dire of needs. I first met Rodney on one of my very first trips to Congress for AUB with Jennifer Steele, then my brand new Director of Government Affairs, and now our Associate Vice President for Government Affairs. Rodney was chair of the House Appropriations Committee, and he knew all about the American University of Beirut when I visited. He was kind, courteous, knowledgeable, and responsive. Frankly, I felt like I was learning from him about what the message needed to be in Washington to support AUB. Shortly thereafter, he would visit me in Beirut with his vice chair, Dutch Ruppersberger from Maryland, at the behest of my friend and then ambassador to Lebanon, the wonderful Elizabeth Richard. Rodney had a message for me, both in support of AUB and about nuances, and I'm being diplomatic for once, in messaging that support, especially while I was in Lebanon. I've never forgotten how courteously and patiently, and yet directly, he delivered the message. Lower your profile, watch what you say, always say positive things, stay out of the limelight. I've tried to live to those principles. Maybe not the lower your profile, but yeah. As Rodney said it to me at the time, you're effective in getting people on board for AUB's mission, but tone down the public persona to mitigate the personal and institutional risk, something that comes with the neighborhood we live in. I've taken his advice to heart over the years and felt grateful and genuinely honored to have made such a distinguished, humble, and sincere new friend. In the last decade, we've worked together to more than double and even during the economic meltdown quintuple congressional support for AUB and for LAU, our sister university, I want to add. Thank you, Rodney. Since retiring from Congress in 2019, Rodney was immediately drafted to serve on the President's International Advisory Council, lending his time, expertise, and connections to help AUB navigate periods of great uncertainty. As a former member of the U.S. military and a student of history, Rodney has a genuinely nuanced understanding of the Middle East and its intricacies. His extraordinary political mind, paired with his enduring love for AUB, has been a guiding light for our institution. Rodney has provided invaluable counsel during critical moments, including the evacuation of our students from Afghanistan and navigating the complexities of the Middle East and the Congress in an ever-changing picture in Washington, D.C. itself. He exemplifies the very best of public service. He inspires our advocates and strengthens our mission as the most vital U.S.-accredited academic institution abroad. Time and again, Rodney's gone above and beyond to help AUB weather the storm. And on a personal note, I'd like to recognize and remember our former trustee emeritus, the great Theodore Van Italy, who first introduced Rodney to AUB while he was growing up in New Jersey. Ted was a major influence on Rodney and on many of us, and his love for AUB fortunately proved infectious for his younger neighbor. After Rodney helped lead the growth of AUB's congressional funding, I asked him to join our International Advisory Council when he retired from Congress. Of course, Ted was a friend and mentor to both Rodney and I, a groundbreaking obesity expert and leading researcher in metabolic diseases. Ted honored me greatly by flying up to my very first AUB alumni event as president to my native Boston in 2016 when he was 100 years old. Like Tom Morris, Ted Van Italy, who passed away recently, will always be in our hearts. Now, Rodney, I've had the distinct honor and pleasure to spend a lot of time with you while in Washington, D.C., working for AUB and working for the greater good of the United States. You've lived an extraordinary life, and you've got the stories to prove it. One of the most memorable stories Rodney told me was about the time in 2007 when he was robbed on the streets of Washington, D.C. True to character, Rodney did not take this lying down. He was early in his 60s and chased down the 270-pound, 19-year-old perpetrator, caught him, got his wallet back, and turned him over to the police. Just incredible. I think you would agree this is not an individual you would say no to if he were in your office. But besides that, one of the things that I've enjoyed greatly with our dear friend and trustee John Sununu and with Jennifer is to see just how loved Rodney is across the aisle by Republicans and Democrats and neither of the above. He's a gentleman and a patriot in the best sense of both words. It's been heartwarming and encouraging for us to spend time with Rodney in both the House and the Senate and see that the esteem and respect he's held in crosses aisles and crosses the divide between the two great houses. His belief in AUB has spread across the Capitol. He's made AUB's cause his cause, and he's elevated respect and support for us across Congress, Congress after Congress, administration after administration. Rodney, I'm deeply proud to call you my friend. This evening, we honor not only Congressman Frelinghuysen, or Mr. Chair, as Mario Diaz-Balart, Hal Roberts, Rosa DeLaura, and so many others call him with both admiration and affection, for his myriad achievements, but we also honor him for his enduring dedication to the greatest principles that America stands for, which are the core value of education as an equalizer and as a peace builder across societies. These are the values that AUB is proud to represent, not only as an American institution or as patriotic Americans, and indeed who believe with all our hearts that we can help bring the fairest, finest, and most inclusive education and care to every corner of our world, but as an institution that dares to adhere in its mission and believe that there are no children of a lesser God. And those are the principles that Rodney Frelinghuysen stands for. So please join me in congratulating Chairman Rodney Frelinghuysen as Chair Khalifa reads the commendation and we present the University Medal in gratitude for his extraordinary service to AUB.
In recognition of his invaluable guidance during times of turmoil and uncertainty, his unwavering advocacy of AUB's role in creating a stronger and more stable Middle East, and in his impassionate commitment to the education of generations of AUB students, the Board of Trustees of the American University of Beirut bestows its highest award, the University Medal, on the Honorable Rodney Proctor Frelinghuysen. Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Good evening, and thank you for the honor The wait staff has advised me that I stand between you and dinner, so I will keep it very short. What a great honor. They love you in Congress more after you've retired. And may I say, it's a good time to be retired from Congress. It's been my pleasure since my retirement from Congress in 2019 to been working with former Senator, and I think Senator-to-be John Sununu, who's here tonight. Give him a round of applause. He's been great. He got us 2 meals in the Senate dining room, which is pretty important. Jennifer Steele, also a valuable member of AUB's staff, does all the hard work. And Fadlo is incredible. He loves the institution. He sells and tells the story of the American University of Beirut like no one else can. And members of Congress listen to him because he's so sincere. And the mission from the 1860s has been clear. It's a beacon of democracy in a tough neighborhood. Let me just say, my involvement comes through my wife, who grew up with the Van Italy family. Ted Van Italy, Dr. Ted Van Italy, was at St. Luke's Hospitals for 25 years, I think head of the medical staff. And he did a 2-year stint at the hospital in Beirut, and then joined the board of AUB, I think from 1977 to 1988. It's through my wife that I had my association with Lebanon First and your American, the most wonderful American university in the Middle East and throughout the world. So this is a great honor. Thank you so much. Let's have dinner. Thank you very much.
Hello again. Great. I believe we need to thank, of course, the musicians who are here. I wonder if you listened to them properly. And I got their names, and I'd like to thank them each individually. So the group is the Brooklyn Nomads, and they are, respectively, Hadi El-Dibik, Muhammad El-Dibik, Hatem Belyamani, Sarah Muller, Daro Behrouzi, and Nazih Antakli. An Arab League, a successful one though. So, I hope you all enjoyed the dinner and the conversations that usually flow on evenings like this. There are still some, excuse me, hello. Thank you. So, I first met him 9 years ago. What began as a friendship became, in time, a partnership grounded in shared purpose. When I joined the Board of Trustees of AUB, I have discovered not only the man I knew, but the leader he truly is. I know that he doesn't like me to talk about him, but I happen to be the MC, and I have the right to do and to say anything I want. This is what AUB taught us, freedom of speech. So these past 3 years of serving on the board have been a wonderful journey. A learning curve, yes, but also a journey of enrichment, of enlightenment, of standing together through difficult days and turbulent times. And in every single moment, he has shown a steadiness, a clarity, and a sense of mission that are quite simply unmatchable. So it's now my honor to invite to the stage a leader whose dedication continues to steer our institution with conviction and purpose. Someone who has guided the AUB through some of its most challenging and transformative years with a rare combination of courage, humility, and vision. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the keynote speaker of tonight, our President, Fadl Khouri.
Good evening again. Now I'm assuming that you're well fed. I can torture you for a little bit longer. So in all seriousness, it's a pleasure to be with all of you this evening. It's an incredibly generous and committed group. Most of you in the room are very well acquainted with the extraordinary series of events that we had to navigate over the last few years, and particularly last 15 months. What you might not be as acquainted with, and I'd like to deviate from my script, is the incredible work done by the team in the Debs Center and in the advancement team who put this event together. So please, if you'll stand, thank you very much. Please. I warned Ada of something that Ahmad has known for years. I'm very reliable, but I'm not quite predictable. So thank you. Look, we've had to navigate a very challenging neighborhood and period for quite a long time. I don't want to go back to all the painful details. We're hopeful we're in a better period. Last year, of course, 4,000 children, women, and men were killed, more than 16,500 wounded, 1.5 million people displaced, but we got through it, and we've been working then and working now, and we're continuing to educate students. And the students and the patients are at the epicenter of what we do at AUB. You know, we in Lebanon and at AUB are no strangers to challenging times. And quite frankly, as my friend Nassim Taleb likes to say, we are probably a very good example of an anti-fragile organism, a group or an institution that do our very best work in these interesting and unusual times. But the reason I believe we've been able to do the things that matter more effectively is that we are much more mission-focused than we were 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, because the university was founded to serve the people of Lebanon and the region. And that's what we're trying to do today, both at our university in Beirut, at our twin campus in Paphos, Cyprus, at our medical center in Beirut, and at our first ever community hospital in Kisirwan. Although AUB's contributions to education, healthcare, research, and service are all critical, I'd argue that the university provides something even more valuable to the people of Lebanon and the region, and that's what we provide with your help, which is hope. Hope is an ephemeral quality that is very hard to describe, but you can see it and sense it. And when times are tough, as they are much too often in our neck of the woods, people look to AUB to lead, and we do. I'll give you an example that's a little bit more than 5 years old. On August 4th, 2020, there was a devastating port explosion. Nobody really knew what had happened initially. Those of us in Lebanon were trying to reach family and friends and loved ones we knew lived in the area of the blast just to ensure they were safe. And I got call after call from friends all around the world, from trustees, and they all asked the same thing. What's AUB going to do about it? What can I do to help? Not, will AUB do anything? It was understood that AUB would rise yet again to the task. Our global family knew that AUB would respond to the urgent needs in Beirut and Lebanon, and we did, and not just on our campus. In the weeks that followed, we canvassed the other medical centers and university, and with the extraordinary efforts of our advancement team and our community, we fundraised for ourselves and for the rest of the country's major impacted hospitals and universities. And that period further tied together the healthcare and higher education sectors of Lebanon. And the university had its great champions and great heroes in that period. Jortei, principal among them, as the director of the AUB Medical Center and the person who knows everyone in the health sector in the region. Everyone stepped up. And there's something about stepping up that it builds confidence of people. I'm not recommending serial massive explosions or bombardments as a test of character. Those of us who trained in our generation hear the painful, well, it builds character. Vivian has heard it, William has heard it, Huda has heard it. You know, we're not trying to build character in that way. But what we are trying to do is take all these pieces of our experiences and do something meaningful to help those who need our help. And really, this is what Daniel Bliss did when William Thompson designated him as the first founding president of the Syrian Protestant College. And Daniel Bliss went and fundraised in the 1860s to start our university, the Syrian Protestant College. Now, there were a couple of things going on in the 1860s. In Lebanon, of course, there was the first civil war in Mount Lebanon. In the US, there was the civil war in all of the United States. But he still got the certificate, came in via Ireland, and started what would become the American University of Beirut. And the university is thriving. I don't want to bore you with data about rankings. The university is probably better positioned than it's been in years in terms of how well its graduates do, and I encourage you to talk to the dozens of fantastic graduates who are here tonight, recent graduates. But I think there is also an enormous energy and excitement on the campus today. While people are tired and sure they've been struggling, and yes, many more students need financial support these days, including the sons and daughters of people who were once our major donors, there is a belief that together we'll get through this and that we will be able to make a difference. And after all, we have the track record to show that. As the Lebanese economy collapsed, we went from a little more than half of our students getting financial aid to 89% of our students getting financial aid. Now we're back around 65 to 70% getting major financial aid. And yet, we're getting more and more great students to commit to AUB because they recognize the diversity of and the opportunity of working with people who aren't exactly like them from their background, from the perspective, but who are bright and motivated to make a difference. And everything we've done would not be possible without the extraordinary work and generosity of our community, and especially our magnificent Board of Trustees. So please, a word of thanks to the board. Well, we're proud. We're very proud of the work that we're done. But we also see an opportunity to do better. I'd say one of the things that I'm proudest of at AUB in our education is that people leave the university with not just no fear of the other, even if they come from a very monochromatic background, but with genuine empathy towards others and a sense of confidence that they can do something about challenges for others. And that's something none of us should take for granted. I'm the product of two different Ivy League schools, and I can tell you I would not put money on what some of our greatest universities in America do to build up the confidence and sense of purpose of our youngest. All people want of universities where they trust us with what is most precious to them, their children, their loved ones, is to have them leave more confident, more self-aware, more, and they would say in French, bien dans sa peau, more comfortable in their own skin than the way we handed them over. And that's something higher education has struggled with, and we're seeing a crisis of confidence in the United States with higher education. But I see that crisis as an opportunity for us, not just at AUB in the sector. Nothing meaningful has ever been easy, at least in my experience. And I think this is an opportunity for us to pivot with higher education, especially at AUB, but across the sector, to earn back the trust of parents, of people, to show that higher education, yes, of course we want our kids to get jobs, but higher education is about empowering and educating the citizen leaders of tomorrow. That's, I think, a much better value proposition than getting a job. So what are we doing to do that at AUB? Well, our kids rank in the top 40 universities, top 33rd in the world in terms of the assessments done of them by employers. They get into the best graduate schools. 85% of them who apply from medical school to AUB match the first time at top medical centers in the world. They do great research. In 2015, we had about 34 people who are in the top 2% in their fields in terms of scientific citations. Now with a faculty that's 25% smaller, that number is significantly higher with 56 such faculty. We lost some great people, great new people came in. And if you ask them all whether they're in Beirut or Paphos and Kisarwan in Beirut, even online, they'll tell you they believe that they are there to make a difference. There to make a difference. That's the refrain I hear most from our students. That's something that is incredible when you think that the majority of them nowadays in Beirut and just under half in Paphos come from Lebanon, which is on the short list of the most beleaguered countries in the world. I looked at a recent survey of passports, and only Afghanistan probably afforded you less diplomatic travel than Lebanon. It's improved a little bit. But why is that important? Well, it's important that these students grow up not just to be citizens of Lebanon or of Syria or of Palestine or Jordan or Iraq, but citizens of the world, and that they have the confidence and the purpose to do that. And we try to manifest that in everything we do, including in our medical center, which this year ranked at the top of the Arab Hospitals Federation for the patient experience. So this is a hospital that we haven't been able to put meaningful capital into for the last 6 years. Yes, we've brought some great equipment, and still the staff and the faculty managed to rank at the top of more than 267 Arab hospitals. We're welcoming people once more to our Middle East Medical Assembly. We're very grateful to the support of this wonderful group for establishing a Festschrift Fund in my honor, which will allow us to send some top young graduates and trainees to the US to marinate in American academia and then come back, hopefully. But it's all about the singular purpose of the university. And the singular purpose of the university is to positively impact not just individuals. The great motto that you all see when you walk through the main gate of AUB, that they may have life and have it more abundantly, it's been true for individuals for generations. We create wealth, we create well-being on the individual level, but now we need to do it on the societal level. We've been grounded in Lebanon, and now we're in Cyprus, where we're quickly developing deep roots. But our goal is to help uplift societies. And to do that, we need to establish 3 new schools. So you heard from our chairman, Abdul Khalifa, about the importance of the School of Computing and Data Sciences. This is a school that we plan to enroll 450 students within a period of 5 years. We'll offer an undergraduate bachelor's degree, master's, and doctoral degrees. And we want to do not only cutting-edge research and hopefully help advance the business of work, but to make the use of AI and computing and data science a language of AUBs. With that, we also hope to launch a School of the Arts and Humanities and a School of Design, and those three schools will become the epicenters, the hubs around which the wheel of our university will be able to grow. Why those three areas? Well, the 21st century, things are moving very quickly. As Bob Dylan said, don't stand in the hallway, don't block up the halls. The times, they are changing. And things are changing very rapidly for higher education. This increased pressure that I talked to you about earlier, the loss of confidence, certainly in the United States, and we're seeing in the West, of the value of higher education, it should represent an opportunity for us to double down and create a new, not just value equation, but a social compact. What do societies want their universities to produce? Do they want us to produce people who are more capable for the workforce? Is that the bar that we really want, or do we want to empower people who will go back to their communities and to other communities and help change them for the better? I would argue it's the latter, and we're already seeing that, for example, at AUB Mediterraneo, where the mayor and the people of Cyprus have been extraordinarily welcoming to us. And now we have 245 students from 35 countries doing an extraordinary job. And those students are already very much embedded in the society. But there's a small and very interesting clue that we got recently. What are we able to teach these young folks? So as you know, it's a changing dynamic what university alumni expect from their alma mater. What they certainly no longer accept is the university calling you once a year and saying, hey, miss, hey, buddy, will you spare a buck? The larger the buck, the better. What they want is a partnership and a sense of lifelong ownership of their institution. And I'm happy to say of our first 15 master's graduates, these are graduates with a master's in business analytics or a master's in engineering management. 14 of them signed up to make a donation annually to AUB Mediterraneo before they graduated. 14 out of 15. That's unusual even for us. But it can't stop there. What it has to do is to continue with that compact. We're making major strides with AUB Online, trying to reach people aged 10, 12, all the way to later in life. People are now interested in becoming lifelong learners, whether they're in the same job, changing jobs, retiring, starting anew. I'm happy to say that we've been able to reach 3,000 learners over the last year with that. And with that, what we need to do is to blaze new trails. The American University of Beirut, as deeply entrenched as it is in Lebanon, has never been a Lebanese university. It is a university in Lebanon, for the region, for the world. And with part of that, we're pivoting to try to serve the people of Lebanon, but also Syria, Palestine, Iraq, Jordan, and the entire Arab world. We're growing in our partnerships, for example, in Qatar and Dubai. But we're also interested in navigating relationships with the ancestral Lebanese Syrian community, the people who call themselves Turcos from Latin America. So I'm hopeful that this time next year we'll be on a long-awaited trip that Caroline Brennan, who's the newest member of our advancement team, will be setting up in Brazil, Argentina, and other countries. Because we believe that we have a message that crosses languages, crosses barriers, crosses ethnicities. This is my 11th year as AUB president, and as always, there's a lot going on. I can promise you I have not been bored for 1 day, 1 hour during this period. And people, thank you. And probably the most frequent question I get when I see people I haven't been able to spend time with for a while is, What keeps you up at night? What keeps you up at night? Keeps me up at night. Well, you know, AUB never sleeps, so I'm not sure we can afford to sleep because, you know, as Robert Frost so memorably wrote, we have promises to keep and many miles to go before we sleep. No, I sleep fine. I believe that this university is doing wonderful things with all of your help. We strive, we grow, we expand, and we insist on continuing to look at new horizons and new frontiers, but tying it all to the mission which centers around freedom of thought, speech, and expression, tolerance, respect for diversity and dialogue, and really a shared, deeply held belief that we can all live a much better life when we work together with respect and mutual admiration. And that's what the AUB represents. With your help, I think we can do a lot more to ensure that those words on the main gate resonate far longer, far louder, far better. Thank you.
Thank you, President Khouri. As you all know, tonight is above all about impact. Impact on students whose dreams depend on every opportunity. Impact on patients whose dignity depends on care. And impact on a community that looks to AUB as a place of healing, learning, a place of hope. We invite you now to watch a short video featuring 3 of our students and 3 of our patients. 6 voices that will reflect thousands more. Their stories are the reason this evening exists.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the family. I'd also like to ask our alumni, my friend of many years, Dr. Mehdi Hani, to stand and be acknowledged. Please may stand. To establish the Albert Hani Distinguished Endowed Chair in the Humanities, which is named for her father, Albert Hani, a visionary and intellectual pioneer in Lebanon and in the diaspora, a publisher of avant-garde literature and journals. The Albert Hani Endowed Gift, Distinguished Endowed Chair, is made possible by a gift of $3 million. Thank you, May. Thank you all for coming tonight. Every year, I say we can't possibly top last year, and yet somehow, thanks to all of you, we do. We really are very grateful to all of you. The total amounts that we've raised in the live appeal, that takes us to a grand total of $13,438,000. Thank you. These will make a tremendous difference for our students, for our patients, and for our faculty and staff. Thank you.
Thank you, President Khouri. I was told that our Lebanese ambassador to the US is here. Where is she? We need to meet you and welcome you. Thank you for being here. Ambassador Nada Hamadi, So thank you to each one of you for a night defined by purpose, generosity, and a shared belief in what AUB stands for. Tonight you did more than support a university. You invested in young lives, in healing, in possibility. You helped us write a chapter that will echo in classrooms, laboratories, hospital rooms, and in the hearts of students who will carry AUB's values into a world that needs them. Let us leave this room knowing that we build together tonight. What does not end tonight? It continues in Beirut, New York, Paphos, and wherever an AUB graduate rises to serve, to innovate, to heal, and to lead. We look forward to seeing you next year. I won't be the MC. However, we'll be welcoming you with new stories of resilience, new milestones, and even a greater sense of what this community can achieve when it stands united. And now I think we celebrate to dance. The floor is yours. The Spice Girls. The stage is here. Enjoy the rest of the evening.